Yo, I already see there's a couple people on here. How's it going? Anyways, I am Mike from Langford.com and DearBands. What is this? I still don't really know what this is going to be. I've wanted to do a live stream DearBands type hangout and chat for a while, and I was chatting with a buddy this morning about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to say I'm going to start doing it today. I'm just going to put a couple screens together and just start doing this today. It's kind of ties into what I tried to start a couple of years ago. Kind of the live stream video thing. It's really hard to do though. It's super hard to like read your script and talk about something in real time and just blast through all of it. So I thought this might be good to have a little bit more of a casual hangout and chat. Try to find some topics. Today's going to be shooting from the hip, that's for sure. I see Mike Patterson's here. I see Luke Michielsen's here doing the dishes. Cindy's here, Kelly's here, Gemma's here. We got a pretty good group already. I was debating, because I am technically working right now too. That's the thing. It's like there's some transferring stuff I need to do for video, and I was like, I can kind of do that while we're hanging out. So I was like not sure about putting the music and stuff on. I don't know how loud it is right now. It's probably not very loud, but it's hard to not have the music going once you find something that is it's adding some ambience to things. How's everybody doing? Luke, how are the dishes doing? That's what the people want to know. Cindy says, how are you? I'm doing good. It's 9 p.m. here, Eastern Standard Time. Butt's been in the chair since about 1 p.m. today. I was doing a lot of emails and financials and stuff this morning, so because Monday, Money Monday. So I was finishing that stuff up and was working on some music this afternoon. And I took a break for dinner, and now I'm working on some video stuff. I'm trying to get more video content created to put up on YouTube. And it takes a lot longer than I anticipated. I'm getting way better at Final Cut Pro, though. I will say that. How's the levels? How's the audio levels out there? Because I can't tell. So. Gemma says she's doing good. Cindy says doesn't feel like a pancake. If you're referring to my backside, sitting in the chair for several hours, it's actually pretty good. My lovely wife hates my office chair. She thinks it's really uncomfortable. I think it's perfect. I tried a whole bunch at Staples the day that I actually decided to invest in another chair for my office at the old studio. Just gonna move that. My camera's on a clip, so it's like I'm always hesitant to move it because I feel like it's gonna snap off and then it'll fall. It'll be really dramatic. It'll look like Blair Witch, but in the studio. It's a good little group here. Luke is saying, good, it's hard to chat because my hands are wet and soapy. You know what, Luke? If you want to hop in, just let me know. Just let me know and I'll send you an invitation. Because we're using StreamYard. So I can do that. So we could have Luke Michielsen. We could talk about what's going on with your... Like Luke, what Luke's been up to since March? Because Luke is Canadian, specifically, I don't know how to pronounce it. Ontarian. I don't know. Is that the proper one? Anyways, what musicians have been doing the last 6 months? Patterson saying levels are good. Could go up a notch or two. If it sounds good, you can always just turn up the volume on your end. So that's what we say in the recording world. Sounds good. It could just be louder. That's one thing I've actually sent into StreamYard a few times, because at the end of your streams, they always ask you if there's anything that you could suggest to make it better. And one thing's from the audio side of things, it'd be awesome if I could see the levels beside each person that's logged into StreamYard. Because that would help as far as to see what the levels actually look like on our end. So Sorry, Patterson, I see there's a giant message on Facebook. I'll get to that later. I'm gonna need to close some browsers here. There's too much going on right now. I have like 90 browsers open. I'm one of those. Luke's saying, okay, invite me. Luke, I'm gonna send you an invite on Facebook. Do you have an earbud or anything? Because that's important to make sure that everyone can hear you. I would love to have Luke Michielsen on. Like, I don't think people realize how much of a treat that would be. Episode 1 of DearBands live stream. To have Luke Michielsen on here. If this production had the money, the budget would be like blown already. I go to the producers and say, episode 1, I want Luke Michielsen, and they'd be like, we can't afford that. We can't afford that right now. So Luke, I sent you the link. You should be able to just hop in or click it, and then I'll let you in. You kind of have to knock on the digital door here a second. So Cindy's saying she got a t-shirt in the mail. What t-shirt did you get, Cindy? Patterson's saying 90 browsers. It's a lot of browsers. And then within those browsers, there's a whole bunch of tabs too. That I'm really bad at that. I'm bad at not deleting emails, and I'm bad at opening browsers. Constantly opening browsers. The thing with exporting video stuff is it's like you just have to wait. So usually, just be watching videos on YouTube while I'm doing this. But I could live stream while I'm doing this. Go. This is what it looks like when people visit you in the studio and they're just like, so it's really quiet and you just kind of like look off to the side and ignore people the whole time. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what it's like. Cindy's saying, read Henry's monster t-shirt in royal blue. Good stuff. Supporting independent musicians. Much appreciated these days. I'm still, not to say I'm still surprised, but like I'm still surprised how much Dead Set merch we still sell. I try to do mail outs Mondays and Thursdays, but between Tense Machine, like Tense Machine still sells CDs, which is great, but considering like Dead Set's been inactive for like a year and a half now, I don't want to say surprised in like a negative way, but like it's awesome how people still seem to find the merch page and still buy CDs and still buy some of the merch that's left over from tour and stuff. So because there's just oddball stuff left too, because people will ask and it's like whatever's on the site is what's available. That's all I can tell you. So, but no, it's good, Cindy. It's excellent to be supporting musicians. Super tough these days. We could hear how tough it is if we could get Luke Michielsen in here while he's doing the dishes. I think that'd be amazing. One of the things... So I was just reading through the chat for... So I'm using StreamYard, so we're actually broadcasting to YouTube and Facebook at the same time. One of the things I did want to bring up, Damian Keys, he's a YouTube musician. What's another word? He's kind of independent musician industry advice person, and he's got some pretty good insight on things. And Patterson's saying I can't be talking about Dead Set. No, you can talk about Dead Set. It's just it's not really advised to go on another band's stream and blast out a band that's on hiatus the whole time. It's not a good look, Patterson. I'll be honest. It's not a good look. Anyways, back with the Damian Keys. He put a video up today. And he was talking about how Daniel Ek, he's like the CEO of Spotify. He's the one that seems to hold the purse strings with everything. But he put a, I guess he did a bit of a press release where he's talking about how he's basically investing like $1 billion into new businesses and new industries and stuff. But everyone was kind of surprised that he wasn't. Luke, I sent you the invite. It's on Facebook. Luke James Michielsen. Luke James. Yeah, it's there. It's there. Anyways, people were kind of surprised that Daniel Ek didn't really want to invest into music and didn't want to pay the artists out more. And my knee-jerk reaction is like, and this is going to sound really bad because of the way the music industry is, and my place in it and my friends in it, but it's like, music's not a good place to invest money. Like it really isn't. And I think the proof is in the pudding of the amount of artists that don't really invest money into themselves. So to think that you're just going to get more money from Spotify when they've built the platform, like they kind of run the party. So the fact that they're paying out their AAA artists, they're paying them out well. Like don't kid ourselves on that. They're not getting the same amount that someone who's got 3 million monthly listeners is not getting the same amount of money as someone that's got 600 plays in the last 3 years on their Spotify account. So the artists that they need to take care of, they are being taken care of. Do not kid yourself on that. But as far as Daniel Ek investing in other things, it kind of gets down to it's Daniel's money. So he's making money from Spotify, but that doesn't mean he needs to keep putting that back into music, because there's not a lot of ways, in trying to find a way, not a crappy way of putting this, but there's not a lot of ways to generate income once you've placed your music on these platforms and it's being distributed. I got to knock at the door here. I'd like to introduce everyone. Gem of a talent. Not just Canadian music talent, just music talent in general. Or just music, or just talent in general. Luke Michielsen. How's it going, Luke?
Good, how are you? Hey, thanks for the nice words.
Excellent. I didn't do a really good job like prepping your intro, so I was just kind of winging it, but you're a very talented acoustic guitar player, singer-songwriter.
I'm trying to get my Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I thought I was just a pandemic fighter and full-time golfer now.
That's how you've been spending your summer?
I've got my handicap down to 17.6.
What does that mean? That's one of the, because I don't play golf. What does the handicap actually mean?
So it means if I'm going to shoot one of my best rounds, it would probably be around 89.
Okay.
If I was on a really good day. So I'm a lot worse than a pro. I'm not even close to being an amateur.
What's a pro's handicap then?
It would be 0.
0? Okay, there's just no handicap. It's just
or it would be plus 1, or I think it can go down to like plus 5 or something, where it's like they're actually adding strokes to the person because they're too good. For me, they have to subtract strokes. But anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter, but having an 18 handicap means that on a good day, I would average bogey on every hole. So I like to
3 over on every hole.
No, that's just
over?
1. That's just 1 over.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm not a golfer.
So I'm getting pars about 25% of the time, whereas
that's not bad.
Pros get that a lot more. But you have to golf like 8 hours a day to be a pro, I think. Anyway, music.
No, I think that's actually good, because that ties into loosely one of the topics I was hoping to chat about a bit today. Like what you're an independent musician. You do
Yeah.
tour. You do release music. You do release albums and singles. And it's like, how have you spent the last 6 months? Because like in
Oh,
Canada kind
yeah.
of shut down in March, April.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at the time of the shutdown, I was working on the first 5 songs of a new album. Like I had just done vocals and we had all the other bed tracks done. But what really kind of sucked was the vocal session I did in February. The last one was not very good. I didn't feel good about it because I was really congested that day.
Right.
And you know the old thing we used to work under, no rock before noon.
Yeah.
I think I tried to start at like 10:30 or 11, and I ended up going on a tea run, and I never actually started singing until like 12:30, and then I just didn't have it that day because I don't know, my voice just didn't have the power it needed. So anyway, that's all of our, getting together in studio kind of stopped in the middle of March. So now I've been kind of just recording at home, learning how to do that with just using like my 2011 MacBook and like a Apogee USB mic. Just
Hey, if it runs.
just trying to make it happen.
If
And
it runs.
so I think I'm going to redo all the vocals for the album. Like, okay, let me just say the album was supposed to be out in like June. But we just threw all deadlines out the window. And
Did you have plans to tour and like put shows together and stuff?
I did, yeah.
How
So
far ahead did you have that stuff set up? Or is it like Notepad set up, or you actually had dates booked?
No, I didn't have dates booked yet because this was like, I was thinking like I would be probably doing the first runs of my tour probably now. Like I might have done like a week run, but like when it came out in June or something. But then usually I do like a bunch of summer shows, like backyard gigs, and I play at a golf course every week.
That's
so
convenient.
summer's not really the best for the that's how I afford golfing through bartering.
Hockey arena.
Yeah, oof. Sorry, I'm doing dishes here.
For anyone just Luke's doing dishes.
I did get to, so usually I do 17 Fridays in a row from May to the end of September at this golf course near Kitchener. And this year we didn't get started with that until like the stage 3 restrictions came, which allowed people to drink on patios and stuff. So I didn't start until like the first week of August, and I only maybe got 6 gigs in. I'll usually play like 40 to 45 gigs a year. I also teach guitar. That's another thing that I do, but this year I've only played maybe like 7 gigs or 8 gigs or something. And I have nothing else booked. I guess if you count Facebook Live, I did maybe 5 Facebook Live concerts just by donation. And then now I've started a Patreon, and I'm doing 1 live stream concert a month for my patrons.
Okay.
Which is really kind of funny because, I maybe only have 12 patrons at that level for like the live stream concert. So like last time it was like literally just my mom and dad and my sister. But people can watch it after, but I'm still trying to figure out if it's going to work as a Patreon reward, because money wise I was making more money just putting up my PayPal and e-transfer tip jar.
Yeah, the digital hat. And I was going to ask about that because I've seen a few people put together. I ended up doing that for Tense Machine, put together like a donations through PayPal, sort of thing. But with the Patreon thing, it's like I still think that's an excellent way to because you kind of have to not say funnel your fans around, but like figure out where they want to go and what works best for them. So
Yeah.
I say like especially the way things are right now, it's just like try everything. You know, you've
Yeah.
got the time.
I've
So
wanted to start a Patreon for 2 or 3 years, but like for all of the time that it takes, I just didn't really feel I had the time to put into it to get it started and really encourage all my fans to join up. And but yeah, I've had it going for I think since July, and I only did one big drive trying to get 20 patrons as a start. Now I have 28, which is pretty good. So it's kind of working out to like I think it's like $215 US a month, and I'm putting out two performance videos. So that's just I've actually got a friend who's just starting out in mastering to master the tracks. I just put one mic up and like film something out like a song outside, and so they're pretty easy and painless to produce. And so I've been doing that, and then a story behind the song, which is kind of just like a mini podcast, anywhere from 5 minutes to 10 minutes, kind of telling people what
okay.
the because that's kind of like what I do with my banter at live shows. Like I'm a folk musician, so I talk about what is this song about and where was I, what headspace was I in when I wrote it, what do these lyrics mean, because my lyrics are not always very literal. They're just like images and kind of I know what they mean, but they're not obvious. And then yeah, what else? There's most old demos that never got recorded. I'll do one of those a month, and so I'm just kind of letting people behind the scenes. I do a little vlog of like behind the scenes.
And this is all just onto your
Yeah,
Patreon.
it's all on my Patreon, and
Do you put
you
anything
know,
up on YouTube or SoundCloud or anything, or does it make
I
it to Spotify or?
I will be um, putting a lot of like maybe half or 2/3 of these performance videos are already on YouTube, but they're just private for my Patreon. And
Oh,
then
okay.
I'm gonna start like putting them out there for everybody. I'm trying to figure out the right amount of time to wait, maybe like 2 months. So some of the stuff I released in July, I might be releasing to the public pretty soon. Yeah, because I think the idea is not to keep. Sorry, I'm just getting out my
No,
cat food
this is
here. I
good.
have to
This is real.
defrost it. I feed my cats raw food.
I
So
wanna go back for a second. There's a couple of things I want to ask questions about. Um, Getting back to playing gigs. What was like the rules or policies or safety stuff did you have to play behind glass or anything, or was it just a distance thing or?
um, yeah, well, because it was a patio, I'm done the dishes now, so I can just relax. Because it was a patio, you didn't need to have a plexiglass in front of you. And I really like that. So yeah, I really just set up like quite far away from the table, like from the closest table. I was probably 25 feet from the closest table, and I would set up like my guitar cases and microphone bags and stuff like in a semicircle in front of me. So like people couldn't get too close to me. And I told the servers like, don't walk past me because singing spreads droplets and stuff like
spray everybody? No, it's interesting because yeah, it's been a while for a lot of musicians to get back out playing again. Think Luke may have froze. I'm hoping he didn't freeze. For a little bit of context, Luke and I have made, I think, 3 records over the years. He was one of the first musicians I had when I had my studio downtown Toronto in Kensington Market. He's one of the first musicians I had in there. We did a record together. And also, I did a record with his band called Slow King. I don't know if that record's up on Spotify. I need to ask him about that. But I'm super proud of that record. There's another story to go along with that too. See if we get Luke to come back here. Sounds like his internet connection was better. Yeah, he's dropped. Sounds like Luke's internet connection was better when he was doing the dishes. See if we can get him back here. I've got a few more questions for him. I see Cindy's got a question for him. See Michelle's got a question for him. But yeah, Luke's a great singer-songwriter and fantastic guitar player. It was interesting too because he was talking about how, like, you know, he's got his gigs, he's got his gigs, he's got his music and like his recorded music income, he's got his teaching, and he was also a guitar rep for a long time. I don't know if he's still doing that as well. So it's one of those things with a lot of musicians these days. There's just so many different revenue streams, and that's why when I see people, lack of better term, kind of whining about the royalty rates when like they don't have enough of a fan base to get the amount of streams that you really need to create an income. It's like you need to build your other revenue streams. Even like Cindy's, and you mentioned she bought a T-shirt. It's just like, yeah, like those all we need all these things. Oh, knock at the door. Luke's back.
Hey,
You back by the dishes?
no, I'm done the dishes. I went into my studio there,
And
but the internet's not that great there, which is hilarious because that's where I do my online guitar lessons. But yeah, so now I'm just on data.
way she goes. Okay, well, we won't eat up all your data. So you had that question about the live performance. I wanted to go back. You're talking. I need to move myself over here because of the way it just shows up. Um, you mentioned with the recording and how like you felt like you had you had an off day. You weren't feeling super great about your vocal takes, and you wanted to go re-record it. Life seemed to kind of shut down in Ontario, so that either forced or encouraged you to do more recording at home. Correct?
That's right.
Do
Yeah.
you think that's helped, like that nudge to just record stuff at home? Do you think that's helped a lot?
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm already thinking about the next project and how I'm just going to record at home now. Like I still have no idea how to mix or I still
But
don't
that
know
stuff
but it
not
doesn't matter like
no,
because
it doesn't.
again, we've
Just
always talked about like when you get it's the performance that matters. It's if do I sound relaxed, do I sound like engaged with the material, and I'm finding, even though yeah, I'm using like it's not a bad mic, but it's like a $300 mic and there's no preamp, like no outboard preamp or anything, and my computer is like just barely not freezing. And I'm like I'm making it happen, and you just send it off to other people and they can help you.
I mean, it's bang on. It's just like with a lot of because this was the thing. There's musicians trying to figure out what to be doing right now, and I felt like this was kind of the line in the sand for a lot of musicians because it's one thing to want that experience. I'm gonna vent for a second. That's warning you, Luke. It's one thing to want that experience to go into a studio, but it's another thing to know that what you really want at that studio is your performances. Whether you get them from a phone booth or you get them from live stage or you get them from a $1,000 a day studio, the bottom line is you just want those performances or you want that experience that goes with it. And I think there's a lot of musicians, they like that experience. They kind of have that romantic element of recording where like they go in and they have their coffee and they're seeing the big console and they're on the like they're kind of in the zone that way. But when you think of it as like just getting a job done, like a good mechanic can be on the side of the road and just fix it. They don't need to be in the shop all the time. And I
Yeah,
think like the amount of musicians that I've kind of asked them the question, like, do you still want to record because you can? They're like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, I can tell you how to use Pro Tools in 15 minutes to do 90% of my job. When it gets to the mixing part and like that, like there's other elements that are going to help. But, you mentioned a $300 mic. That's fine. Like it's
yeah,
it's still it's still going to sound like you. You could sing into my phone and I'd be like, yeah, it sounds like Luke.
yeah.
You could sing into a U87. I'd be like, yeah, it still sounds like Luke. So
And
that's
yeah,
good
I
to hear.
know some people are probably like $300. Holy crap. That's expensive, right?
Well, that also tells me
It's
something when someone
perspective.
says that. I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay, let's, you know. That being said, the mic that I'm using for all this is $120. It's an Audio Technica 2020, and because I got a couple things, I wanted to start a podcast a few years ago,
Okay. Okay.
but
Yeah.
anyways, no, I think that's excellent to
The
hear
reason I
because
got this mic, though, yeah,
go ahead. Which mic?
the reason I got that mic, the Apogee USB
Yeah.
mic, is because it plugs right into my iPhone. So to make those videos, like
Oh,
performance
nice,
videos, it's perfect. Like you don't even have to, match up the video and audio. It's already right in there.
excellent.
Yeah.
No, and that's another thing too. It's like our phones are awesome these days. Like the
Yes.
camera on it, like yeah, there's a little bit to be desired about the microphone, but you can go onto Amazon and probably spend $60 and at least get something that's going to help, or a clip-on mic, or as you're saying
Hmm.
with a USB mic, if you can get that rigged up to go into your phone, like I don't know, and people, all I hear is excuses sometimes from people. You're just like, there's lots of ways and there's lots of resources to
Yeah.
figure things out. So yeah, back with the vocal thing, it's like in recording from home. One of the bands I'm working with right now, we had a couple touch ups we wanted to do on one of the songs, and we just hopped on StreamYard to actually go over the parts because I'm producing from a distance, and over the weekend he's just like, I wasn't feeling super great and I tried and it just didn't sound that good, so I'll send it to you later. And I'm like, yeah, imagine you had a studio booked for that,
I
you
know.
know?
Like I got a good deal on that vocal day, but that money's gone.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
but that's the idea. When you've got your stuff set up at home, it's like you can just, if you're feeling good at 9:32 on a Monday night and your neighbors or people you live with aren't going to get mad at you, it's like you can just get to work.
Yeah. And I've
Like,
got actually a couple of single memory foam mattresses that like we had, and we were getting a new bed, so we had like these nice 6-inch memory foams, and that's like deadening everything. I set them up like as like a little vocal booth, so there's no. I mean, I
that's
don't know if
awesome.
it's I don't know if it's a really good treatment, but the people are saying it sounds fine.
It
So
sounds fine. No, and that's the thing. I don't do very well in like for like in threads with like engineers and mixers and stuff, because they'll be talking about things and like, is the song any good? Is the vocal
yeah,
good? Like, just don't wreck it. Like, you have to, I think you have to do a little bit of work to record something crappily, like, especially
yeah,
with the gear we have these days. So even you're talking about, 2011, MacBook that's just chugging along trying to get it. It's like, you know what? We use what we got, sort of thing, until
yeah.
the money that comes in from that can help pay for the things that we want. So no, I think that's awesome. It's awesome to hear. Do you have time for a couple questions from the
Yeah,
audience?
absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right. You're gonna see that. Have you used StreamYard before?
No,
So the
I'm.
power of StreamYard.
Oh wow, look at
Cindy's
that.
asking. This is from Facebook. Do you have times where you invite a fan on stage to perform with you? That's a high risk
Uh,
maneuver.
yeah. That sometimes that can go well. I would say more often it's more like a friend than a fan. It has to be like a friend and fan.
So one of the Graham brothers.
Yeah, basically, yeah. One of the Graham brothers who I went golfing with Sean today. And
So I said hello.
but I'll tell you this, how a time when it went really bad. Um, I was playing this like nine and dine event at the golf course gig last year, and there was this. Luckily, it was only one table left, but they're like, the guy was like, "I'm a singer. Like, can I come up and use your microphone?" And he started singing this song called "Send in the Clowns,"
Oh, really? He went there.
and he was so. I don't know if tone deaf is a real thing, but it was like so bad, and they were having so much fun singing for their drunk friends and just spewing alcohol. This is pre-COVID times, spewing his alcohol breath all over my mic, and yeah, I was just so regretting that. But yeah, generally, I like to more just playing with the other bands or other musical friends who happen to be at the gig, to come up and join me for a song, or I'll go up and join them for a song. That's kind of along the same
So just kind of keep it on the
line.
rails a little bit.
Yeah, but definitely, yeah, I would. It's good entertainment value to bring a fan up, and if they know the words to your song, I'd say I've probably had it happen 4 or 5 times, and it's pretty complimentary to have someone come up and know how to sing your song, and I'm just playing the guitar. So, and usually it works out. So, yeah, good question.
If there's a an artist that was in the crowd, like any artist you can think of that wanted to come up, who would you want that artist to be?
Hmm. That's so weird. Like, for some
You
reason, I thought of Hayden, but I wouldn't want him to come up. It's like someone came to mind, but I would not want him up there because I think he's so his own thing, and yeah, no, I wouldn't have him
so
up.
you,
So who would
okay,
I
so
actually want?
Hayden was like stand up for a second and then he sat back down.
Yeah,
Like you
basically. And
looked
I
at him
think
and he's like, and then you're like, no, no, we're good.
funny, like I've been such like a fan of Hayden's over the years. I always like meet him after the show, and like, you know, he doesn't remember me ever, obviously, because he meets millions of people after the show. Not millions, hundreds, but oh man, who would I invite up? I think it'd be fun to get Neil Young up. I think
Just straight to the source.
that would go up because I know about 40 of his songs.
That is true.
So I could just play the guitar and he would sing.
One of your live streams was like all Neil Young covers, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. That's what I found with live streams. Like I wanted to do something to change it up rather than just playing my music every time. So I did like um, a couple times I did all requests. So people would just request my songs and I did an entire set list of that. Another time I was like, I'm going to play all of my favorite songs tonight. And then I did all of my favorite Canadian covers, folk songs and stuff. And then I did a whole Neil Young night. And yeah, the Neil Young night's always a big success in Ontario because uh, I think the stat is something like 98.5% of Ontarians like Neil Young. So
It's probably up about that.
it always goes over well. You get the odd comment on there that
People think
he's,
Tragically Hip bring people together, but I think it's like there's Tragically Hip and then there's like Neil Young and then there's like Stompin' Tom. It's
yeah,
like there's like the one more. Oh, and then like Jane Arden's up there too, and that's more sad. But like yeah,
yeah,
it's like of those type, the singer songwriter. So
yeah.
there's another question I had in there. Question slash comment because you mentioned with the live streams that you thought you needed to change it up a little bit instead of just playing like your songs all the time. And that was one of the things that I said to a few people back in March, April, because I'm like, everyone's going to start live streaming now that shows are getting shut down. And like, watch how many people exhaust their songbook in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because you can only, not to say, because if you're on tour, you can play the same 12 songs every night for like 2 months because you're in different audiences. But when
Yeah.
you're live streaming, you kind of have the usual suspects showing up, and it's
Yeah.
like you just keep banging out the same hits, multiple times during a week or multiple times during a month. Like, it does get a bit stale. So, like, when did you decide, hey, I need to mix things up a little bit?
It was probably after the first one. Yeah, honestly, but um yeah, it was more just honestly the first live stream I did, I feel like was the most successful for me. Just because I think everyone really missed live music, including myself, and I didn't jump on board right away. I think I didn't do my first live stream until like May 14th, if I remember that day
Until like May
correctly.
14th? Okay.
Yeah, so I like I was basically, you know, hadn't performed live for anybody for 2 months or 3 months. And usually, like, most of my modest fan base will see me, some of them will see me like 4 times a year. So some of them maybe just once or twice a year, but I could tell that they definitely were super excited, like in the Facebook chat and everything. And I was getting pretty uh, some good feels from it. Let's call it
Hmm.
feels. I don't want to say I got emotional, but I kind of did.
Yeah, May and June there was because a lot of people were hoping things would come back, and then it just didn't look like it was going to.
Hmm.
Do you know the Good Lovelies?
Yeah, I don't know them personally, but I'm
They
familiar. Yeah,
they did like a Zoom concert, and so that was hilarious because they've got an older demographic, so you can imagine, and you've got a whole bunch of people trying to get into a Zoom call, and then every time you touch something, the microphone grabs the video from that viewer and like puts like it was kind of chaos for a bit. But I remember during the end of it, like I could tell, a couple of girls were getting a little bit, emotional about wrapping up the concert because it went so well. Like it
yeah,
was such a good time for everybody. But like I think what started to hit like sink in a little bit is like it's a band-aid for what we really want right now. Like because we
yeah,
want to be out doing these live concerts, we want to be able to see people and the hugs and the handshakes at merch table and like that kind of experience. And it's like this is the best we can do right now, and we don't know when we can get back to it. So there's kind of this bittersweet thing of like it feels good that there's the success of actually having that live stream, and it worked and it sounded good, but you're still not doing what you really want to do. And I do believe this is temporary. Like there's some
yeah.
people are all doom and gloom about this, like, oh, no concerts for the rest of our lives. It's like, no, I'm
Oh no.
follow the money. There's just need to figure out their insurance, and big festivals aren't coming back next year. It's not looking like, but this actually ties into another question. I'm not going to take all your time up this evening, Luke, but I really appreciate you being here.
Oh, no
Michelle was
problem.
asking, what about drive-in concerts? What are your thoughts on drive-in concerts?
Oh, well, I haven't got any offers. So yeah, I guess
Would you go to a drive-in concert?
I don't think so. Just because of, well, I wouldn't say no, but I haven't seen anywhere I would actually even go see that artist.
So the right artist,
You
you
know,
would consider
like,
it.
yeah, but it seems like, yeah, the ticket price is going to be pretty high, just because of the lack of space and how much production is going to have to go into that.
Yeah.
Um, for me, yeah, I don't know. I would definitely do it, and I've seen a few of my kind of peers. A couple of my peers had an opportunity to do drive-in concerts, and I was like, "Oh, that looks like, again, a good band-aid." But yeah, I just don't. I don't think I have the kind of draw that would be needed to really put up that kind of a size of a production. If there was a way to do it on a scale, where I could get 80 people out, which would be like a really big draw for me. Um, yeah, I haven't thought about how that would look. That, maybe 40 car, 30 or 40 cars would come out. I don't even know how it works. You
Like
get
how
out
the
of your
logistics
car,
work.
or
Well, I
is
think
it
that
coming out of your
there's like a
radio?
yeah, I think there's like a shortwave radio station that kind of blasts out, and then you can kind of tune into that. I'm not sure of all the logistics from it. When you're talking about production, like they've got a stage up and a few things, but like it seems pretty stripped down. It's just like
Yeah,
I don't want to say it's just like a carnival stage and some lights and stuff because I don't want to undersell it, but it's just like it I think they look at the numbers coming in, the break even point, and go, okay, at least we can do this. So I
Yeah.
was kind of
Hey,
half
we'll see
joking.
what it looks like next year, or if
Yeah,
there's
well,
a heated stage.
I think like just I think next year you're going to see a lot of drive-in concerts because I just see it was been
Hmm.
prime real estate this summer, and I can see people
Yeah.
already booking it just in case things aren't coming back. I think some of the big festivals are already looking at 2022 just because of insurance reasons. If you need 30,000 people to show up at a festival, and you can only put 20% of the people in there safely, and it's still not even that safe because it's still too many people. I can see that stuff getting booked up already. So I'm curious if we start hearing about some drive-in concerts, like bigger tours, in like February or March, going into the summer, just to get people excited for it. I was half joking. I thought it'd be funny, if a band just had like their tour van, threw a couple speakers in, and just cranked it up loud, went to a parking lot, and
Yeah.
remember we had those flash mobs years ago, where you could just do that, just have like, flash mob concerts. So
Yeah,
as long as you're under the
that'd be
legal amount of
great. Yeah.
people, it could be something.
I noticed
Um,
that a lot of people were doing like backyard parties, backyard concerts, and
yeah,
I thought about doing that, but it's just again another thing I didn't get my act together well enough because yeah, I just don't have a big team right now.
it was a weird summer because again, like with the numbers of people getting together, it's like they just opened up to 10 people. I felt like at the beginning of September, 10 or 25 people, wherever it was for get-togethers and stuff. So, another
Yeah,
question here, Luke.
yeah.
Cindy's asking, do you think live streaming with the artist's fans can hurt or help the artist's overall reputation? It's an interesting question.
Um, I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough question. It's something I did consider. But yeah, I'm a pretty accessible artist myself. Like I'll play to rooms of 20 people or 100 people. So, getting out there, and I think the only way it could hurt my reputation is that, one of the live streams that I did, I for whatever reason, I just wasn't performing very well that night. And then I felt like maybe I didn't get as many tips, or people kind of left. That can happen at a real show as well. So, can playing real shows hurt your reputation? Yes, real shows and live stream shows can either help your reputation or harm it. So I would say you just have to put on a good show and like play to the best of your ability, and then you can't be worrying about your reputation. That's my answer.
I just think it's funny with the idea of people leaving because at least at a real show, it's like you can see them actually kind of leave. But online,
Yeah.
it just goes from like 20 to 19, and you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I guess they're gone. And then it goes back to 20. You're like, oh, maybe it's just bad connection, and then it's back down to 19. Like,
Yeah.
nope, nope, no, now they're sure, now they're leaving.
How many people were at your show for 10 seconds only? Right. You don't really know.
I'm just looking through the comments here. Jeremy Isbell, he's fantastic front of house around Peoria, Illinois. Local H has done 3 drive-in concerts that were amazing. Each car and parking spot. You have your own space to rock out. So again, it's dare we call it a band-aid, but it's just like people are still enjoying it. And I do give props to the bands and artists that have been trying to figure out these ways to make it work.
Hmm.
There was a concert called Voodoo. I think it was Voodoo Fest up near Ottawa, and I was chatting with the
Okay.
organizer about that for a bit. But then the way things were all going, they're like, "Well, if you guys wanted to play in August, like let me know and we'll hold a spot for you." But I'm just like, we'll be in the States if things are going, and if they're not, they probably won't be too safe. But I think their capacity was 50, and I think they had
Right.
like 9 bands. And I'm really curious to chat with the bands, like how did that actually go? Because you know what it's like playing shows downtown Toronto, where sometimes there's more bands and bar staff than there are people in the audience. So you do
Yeah.
the
And you
math
just,
on it. There's
How many
even
times do you want to play that 6 p.m. time slot?
Oh yeah, so it's just the idea. Even if it's 4 people per band, there's 9 bands, 45 people, and then if there's a max capacity of 50, so I think the capacity for outdoor was 100 or something like that. But I'm just curious to hear how that actually went, because like as an artist, like we kind of, whether we put them physically into a spreadsheet or mentally, like we look at the cost of a gig and what we think we'll get out of it, be it money or be it new fans or be exposure. As much as we joke about dying of exposure in the
Hmm.
music industry, it's like, no, there's definitely times where if Neil called you up and it's like, hey, I want you to open for me, it pays
Yeah.
$100 a show, you're like, done. you know
Yeah.
I'm
Fun.
assuming.
Fun is the other factor. Yeah.
That's another thing too. Will this be fun? Is it worth the money? And it's
Did
going to
you,
be fun.
were you the one who maybe told me about that 3-tiered system of how to take a gig? Each tier is worth 10 points. It's how much money you make, how much uh, like improvement of your career it could offer, and 3, how much fun it would be. And you have to get more than 15 out of 30 to even consider taking the gig.
I didn't say that, but that is
Uh-huh.
similar to what Matt from Age of Days told me, because he just kind of, he had his way of putting
Yeah.
it, don't take bad shows, but that's actually really good advice.
Yeah, so I like imagine you got all it was mediocre pay, like 4 out of 10, but it was going to be really fun. All your friends will be there or whatever you think is fun, and that's 7 out of 10. So now we're at 11, and then also you could get a few new fans because there's going to be 100 people there,
That's
and
plus.
you're looking at a solid 16 out of 30. So drag your ass out and play the show.
Go play the show. That's actually, if there's a piece of advice for any band or artist to get from all this, aside from understanding what the handicap in golf means, it's understanding what makes a show worthwhile. And yeah, if you can, is it worth the money? Is it fun? Is it good exposure?
Yeah, those are the 3 keys.
Yeah. If it's not hitting that, don't. I don't know. I think there's a lot of
You'll regret
musicians.
it. You'll regret doing it.
Yeah, no, I'm just because I'm actually, I'm like going through some of the shows where like shouldn't have played that, not worth it, could have canceled, because like that's, there's a lot of like pride with musicians, like just taking any gig sort of thing. But if you're
Hmm.
running it as a business, it's like, no, no, don't do that. Like make sure you're getting what you need out of the deal as well. So
Yeah,
if you value your time, that is.
I've gotten to the age where I have to value my time because I can't just be doing 10 hours of work every day, 7 days a week. I just got to the point where I just get too burned out. I really have to find time for golf and find time for doing the dishes and taking care of business.
No, totally.
Yeah.
No, it's excellent insight, and I will just kind of close that off with I don't know if you know any musicians that have kind of shut it down, like it's seemingly for good this year.
Yeah. I've
You know,
heard
they've
I've just seen on social media maybe 2 or 3 of my musician contacts say like one of them was like I've been thinking of quitting music for a while and I think I'm going to do it now and come out to possibly my last show. I'm playing this patio. And then I was like, is this just a ploy to get people out?
is this just a
My
Rolling
last
Stones
show.
like final tour sort of thing, or
But I kind of felt bad because that has honestly never crossed my mind. My mind goes to, um, okay, you know what? It's okay to just be a musician who plays at home and records stuff and makes videos. And hopefully, I'll get my album done eventually. And maybe I can hike the Bruce Trail a little bit this year and come up with new song ideas and like share that with my fans. Shows are great, but it doesn't have to be shows to be a musician. So kind of how I'm thinking of it. And then, yeah, I saw another friend who also said he was going to quit. And he's like, I've been at it for, I don't know, 5 years or 6 years or something. I'm just like, I can't imagine uh, just not doing it. So
I
guess I'm
I
lucky.
well, I think too, like this this spring and summers help a lot of people zoom out on their life and like what's important to them and what they want to do with their time. And like even with the financial part, like we've been pretty fortunate in Canada with, with CRB
Yeah.
and just like that's helped so many people. Not just pay the rent or the mortgage or just kind of keep things going, but like it's helped them zoom out and figure out what do they really want to do with their time? What do they really want to do with their money? What do they want to do with their relationships? What do they want to do with their job? Like, what do they want to do with so many things? So I think
Hmm.
it's had, again, it's bittersweet with some musicians because like I've seen a handful of bands show up on my feed that have just, they've had their farewell post. They just don't want to do it. And it's like, if there's a good that came out of that, help them zoom out and go, you know what, we're obviously everyone always hopes they could have done more, but at the same time, they're just like, you know what, like I'm happy with what we've accomplished, and I want to spend time with my family or I want to explore other things. And I hate to say it because we're both still very much involved in music, but it's like 6 months later, you see some of these people and they're happier than ever now that they're not struggling with music because it's like music is just brutal sometimes, you know.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually I got into supply teaching in February, like a month before the pandemic, and I stopped. Like I was working fully in music, like selling guitars and doing artist relations as my part-time job. I was doing that maybe 20 hours a week. But I also had to be on like running social media accounts for the store and just answering sales emails that often didn't go anywhere. And so I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to be happier if I just supply teach. Maybe I'll only have to do that 1 or 2 days a week, and that'll kind of get me that. That'll be my side hustle, which is fine. And maybe eventually it'll get me a career like as a music teacher in schools or something. And then when March break came up, they announced, "Oh, school's going to be closed forever. Send the kids home. Send the kids
You'd be an
home like they're
awesome
packing
music
up for
teacher.
summer." Yeah, I think I'll probably end up doing that. And but then part of me is like, oh, I'll get so tired and then I'll forget to, work on my own songs. But I'm also not that worried about that. Like, I think I just want to keep a balance up. There's no shame in having a side hustle, that's for sure, or a serb.
We've all got different drops in the bucket. We have to, it.
Mm,
I don't know very many musicians are like I make all my money from just doing this, and you're just like, wow, how long did it take that to work out for you? Because
yeah.
it's just
Earlier today, I actually just Instagrammed like an old contact and I was like, hey, does your daughter want to take guitar lessons? And she's like, I'll ask her. And she's like, yeah, she wants to. So, like, I just signed up a guitar student by just DMing
it's the
someone.
hustle. The hustle's real.
Yeah.
The hustle's
So
real.
now I've got, maybe I've built back up to about like 7 hours a week of teaching guitar lessons on Zoom. So that's good because
Awesome.
I don't want to have to resort to wearing the mask and visor in elementary school. But it may come down to that. We'll see.
Well, do what you got to do. Luke, I'm
Yeah.
so thankful and grateful that you were able to hop on here tonight. I had no real plan aside from some things that I wanted to talk about. It was awesome that you're doing the dishes. You could hop on while you're doing the dishes.
Yeah.
Anyone that's watching, where do they find you? Where do they find you online?
Well, my website's down right now, but you can search, just Google my name there, or Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Literally every one of my handles is at Luke Michielsen, except
You could get
Facebook is
that. You could
at
get
Luke
Luke Michielsen
Michielsen
for all of them.
Music. Yeah, yeah. I actually have Luke Michielsen at gmail.com if you want to, send me an email. book me for an online show or whatever kind of newfangled things musicians are doing. But yeah, definitely just check out my music. Just Google me and follow me, join my email list, whatever.
Excellent. I'll make sure to put your socials, if it's okay with you. I'll put your socials in the on the YouTube video, in the description below.
Yeah.
Because we are excuse me, we are blasting this out to Facebook and to YouTube, but I'll probably just leave the replay up on YouTube for everybody. Anything else you want to say before we head off here?
Oh, just good to chat with you. And it's
been a while.
Too long. And
yeah,
thanks for the questions, everyone. And I had a lot of fun, and I feel socially fulfilled.
It sounds good. All right. Have a good rest of your evening, Luke.
All right. Now my phone's dying and my data is probably
all your data's gone.
Getting used up. So
we'll get some more patrons.
See you later.
So get some more data. All right. See you, Luke.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Yeah. Patreon.com/Luke Michielsen. That's the only place to find me. Sign up for $2 a month or more. Can I type that in here somewhere in the chat?
Yeah, throw it. Yeah, throw it into the chat.
Okay. But anyway, yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay. Send.
Excellent. All right. Have a good rest of your evening, Luke. That worked out. That worked out really well. Just putting the tunes back on here. So once again, LukeMichielsen.com. He said his website's down right now, but definitely check out his Patreon. All his records are up on Spotify as well. If you want to be super cool, you can stream his music on Apple Music. Apple Music pays better than Spotify. Just saying. Once again, thanks to everybody who showed up in the chat here tonight. Oh, Luke, there we go. Luke has sent it. There we go. I'm putting Luke's Patreon into the chat for everybody. Again, much appreciated if you can help out independent musicians these days. And thanks to everyone who's hopped in and hopped out here during the evening. That was fun. I was hoping tonight would be fun, and that was more fun than I thought it was going to be because we had Luke Michielsen. I think I'm going to get back to work. Again, I was thinking I could do some video stuff while I was chatting with people. Obviously, plans changed for the better. I'm just scrolling through some of the chat here. I'm going to log off in a few minutes, though. Oh, I missed this one, Luke. Jeremy said Neil Young's old Neve console resides in a studio in Peoria. That's not too far. And Jeremy probably knows where it is, too. He could probably take you there. Not to put Jeremy on the spot. If I had known we were going to have Luke on, I would have... I have a Luke Michielsen shirt. I have the one with the bear on it. So he's saying that was cool. Michelle saying, thanks, Mike. Jeremy saying, I will check Luke out on Apple. No, it was fun tonight. Yeah, I would like to have some musicians and bands in here to chat about some of the things that they're doing, because like, as much as it may seem like, oh sorry, Luke just hopped in here. Luke's saying, I am doing another run of t-shirts soon. And yeah, Apple, the payouts are better than Spotify, just saying. They're more consistent, at least. Spotify has really gone down with how the payments are this year. But there's math. It's math. That's all it is. It's just there's math behind it, so it is what it is. yeah, having some more bands and artists in here to chat about things, because as much as some people may think I'm taking, digs at bands with some of the Dear Band stuff, it's always meant with love. It's always meant to poke fun at some of the things that we do or some of the things that we need to consider. It's never meant in a mean way, because they're my family. They're extended family, the bands and musicians. We're all on the same side of the boulder. We're trying to push up the hill. So I would love to talk to some more bands and artists about some of stuff. And there's more artists than you think these days that are all in the same. They're all in the same boat. They're all in the same situation, especially the last 6 months. And I would say any bands and artists that are still trying to do this, still trying to turn, as my good friend Mike Turner would say, trying to turn music into food. I think you're going to come out even stronger at the end of this. So I don't know what the saying is, but it's like, if you want to build a house that can withstand the storm, build it during the storm, so to speak. So Luke's asking, are you becoming the Ricky Gervais of the music industry? I don't think so, but I would take that. It's one of those things with bands. It's like I feel like I have perspective because I've been on so many different, not to say there's only two sides to the fence, but like being a musician, being on the production side, being on management side, like knowing how people think and talk about stuff and what their bigger picture is with so many things. I like to hear what people are saying and help make some sense of it. So anyways, I should get back to work. Again, I'm decompressing a little bit. I had really good time chatting with Luke. Again, thanks again, Luke, for coming on. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging out tonight. But yeah, we'll see next Monday. Back here. If anyone wants to chat as well, I'll be on my gaming page tomorrow night at 8 or 9, and then Wednesday Night Groove back on the 10th Machine page. I'm just realizing the only nights that I'm probably not streaming right now is Friday. We'll see about that. Kyle Mathis just hopped on. He just said missed it. Next Monday, I'm going to get Kyle on soon. Kyle's got to have stories. He's a guitar player for Parabel. He's got to have some stories. All right, I'm going to sign off. This is the Canadian way of signing off. It takes you like 10 minutes to say goodbye. So thanks to everybody again for hanging out here tonight. I will be back, another Dear Bands live, next Monday. I'll have more of a plan, and I'll probably have another guest for that. So thanks again. Talk to you later.